In just a couple months, Tulsa voters will decide whether or not to approve a third Improve Our Tulsa package.
Tulsa Mayor G.T. Bynum says the funding is critical to maintain city facilities. That is just one of the topics that we're going to be visiting with the mayor this morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate it as always. Let's talk first of all the city budget. You guys are meeting tonight. Talk what's going to be happening this evening.
So the City Council and I started developing our annual city budget back in January. I presented it to them in April. We've made some, fine tuning since then, and they will vote on it tonight. And this will be our budget for the coming year, starting July 1 through June 30th of 2024. And this does, I think the big items in this are keeping us competitive from a pay standpoint, especially with first responders, to make sure that we can recruit and retain great employees to the city of Tulsa. We're also undergoing a significant reorganization of city departments so that we can do a better job on our street work and our public works projects across the city, and engaging citizens in planning everything from the quality of their neighborhoods to what a street is going to look like when it's completed. So I'm really grateful for the collaborative process that the council is engaged in with me to develop this. It's a real change from the way I think budgeting has historically been done at the city, but I'm eager for them to vote on this tonight and for us to move forward with all the positive things I think will happen as a result of it.
Mr. Mayor, we just reported the story, the Tulsa City Council meeting today as well to discuss whether to approve this $1 million lawsuit that Sheila Buck is bringing against the city. Do you have a comment on that?
Until the council approves a settlement, we are still engaged in litigation with Ms. Buck, and as the mayor, I'm not allowed to comment on ongoing litigation. I have agreed to this settlement, but because it's over $1 million in value, it requires city council approval as well. So we'll see what the council decides this afternoon.
We'll turn our attention to the Improve Our Tulsa package, which voters will have a chance to vote on coming up in August. One of the questions that we'd kind of talked about, what happens if it doesn't pass coming up in the vote?
Well, I don't even like to think about that because this is not big aspirational stuff here. These are your basic fundamental city maintenance needs. So if this does not pass, you're going to have massive deterioration in street quality. You're going to have streets that we spent the last 15 years fixing that are going to erode and decay instead of being properly maintained. You're going to have firefighters without trucks that work, because that's one of the largest items in this proposal, is replacing fire trucks that have been allowed to get way too old and be used for way too long. You'd have police officers with vehicles that don't work. You'd have city facilities across the city with roofs that are leaking, that are falling apart. You would continue to have it be where the water that comes out of the faucets in Chief Franklin's office at Tulsa Police Department headquarters is brown because of the old pipes. You continue to have police officers getting stuck in elevators that break in our municipal jail with inmates, and you continue to have Tulsa Fire Headquarters located in a floodplain, and all of their maintenance of those fire trucks that I just told you are in danger of breaking down. We couldn't do any of the work on them when the water gets too high in the river. So hopefully, it's kind of a end of days type scenario here if this thing does not pass. But I want to assure the citizens of Tulsa, because it's so important that these things are funded, the council and I were extremely conservative in what we put in here. There is no tax increase here. All this does is continue our current tax rate for 4 years, and it's for maintenance of stuff that the citizens of Tulsa have already bought and paid for. So it maybe isn't super exciting. Maintenance isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it is so important for us to be able to deliver on basic city services.
And, Mayor, you had mentioned specifically the police and fire headquarters, which is a part of this tax renewal package. We all know, as you mentioned, the fire department headquarters in a floodplain, the police headquarters is in that complex of courthouses where it's like, where do I go to pay my fees and my bills? Which courthouse do I go to? That would be moved out of there. Police headquarters would be moved out of the current location, right?
That is exactly right. That building has been allowed to deteriorate so far that it is not worth the cost of doing all the work that needs to be done. And it is maybe not the highest and best use, right next to your convention center that the citizens of Tulsa have invested tens of millions of dollars in, to have your jail and your police headquarters right next door. We think there is strong demand for private redevelopment of that if we move out of that space. And so we would be moving courts, police headquarters, and then fire headquarters, which is located near New Block Park in a floodplain. We would be moving all of that into one combined public safety facility that is safe for our first responders to lead the life-saving work that they do here in Tulsa.
Mr. Mayor, we appreciate your time as always. We'll see you again next month. The vote coming up in Improve Our Tulsa, August the 8th.
Thank you so much.